You said I'd love it, so I gave it a shot. I recently filmed my all-killer, all-filler Top 100, a list of my favourite games with simple rule sets, short durations and portable packaging, and I particularly loved reading all of your comments and opinions. The picks you agreed with, disagreed with, and the games you felt I'd overlooked. One title came up several times in the comments, a tiny card game that I'd never heard of, but you seemed dead sure that I'd like it, so I decided to check the game out. I'm Adam Porter. I design games and review them on this channel with a focus on product design. And if you like what I do, please subscribe, share the video, and join in the conversation in the comments. Novice monks dig up graves and stack skulls in the Sedlec Ossuary. Your job is to collect the most pleasing combination of skulls and position them according to the final wishes of the deceased. Skulls of Sedlec is a simple dose of card drafting and set collection for 2 to 3 players. A lot of game in a tiny package. The entire deck contains just 18 cards. After reading your comments, I reached out to the publisher, Button Shy Games, and they kindly provided me with review copies of Skulls of Sedlec and its 6-card Executioner's expansion for the purposes of this video. Skulls of Sedlec is a 2020 release by Californian designer Dustin Dobson. The 18 cards are divided into 6 face-down piles. The top card of one pile is turned face-up and the game commences. On your turn, you may either take the face-up card into your hand, or turn 2 cards face-up and take one of those into your hand, or place a card from your hand into your display. You have a hand limit of 2 cards, so pretty quickly you'll be stacking skulls on the table in front of you. The cards essentially function as dominoes, with 2 skulls on each. You place these cards in a pyramid-shaped arrangement, and the individual skulls score points based on position. For example, royal skulls score 1 point for each royal or peasant on any lower level. The first priest on each level scores 2 points. A pair of adjacent romantics scores 6 points, and criminals score 2 points only if they're adjacent to priests. The game ends when all players have completed their stacks, and scores are totaled, and the highest scorer wins. The game has many expansions available, but the one you recommended was the Executioner's expansion, and hence, that's the only one I've tried. This 6-card expansion allows you to play the game with 4 players, and it adds a new card type. The Executioners are mixed into the deck, and they score for adjacent connected chains of criminals. Now I'm going to try and follow my usual format, exploring the product design choices apparent in Skulls of Sedlec, but it's going to be hard, because I don't really believe that this game is the product. It seems to me that the publisher, Button Shy, themselves are the product, and Skulls of Sedlec is simply one instalment in their wider project. Now I haven't previously paid any attention to Button Shy, but I must admit I'm intrigued. There's a vast catalogue of microgames available from the company. Titles like Tussie Mussy from Wingspan designer Elizabeth Hargrave and City Builder Sprawlopolis are perhaps their most prominent games. But it's apparent that the real draw for these games is the collectability. Button Shy release one new hand-assembled wallet game every month. That's 12 very affordable games per year. And if the quality of Sedlec is anything to go by, that's an appealing prospect. Like subscribing to a magazine. Looking back at past Kickstarters, I can see Button Shy branded carry cases overflowing with wallet games. Something I never knew I needed, but now I can't get it out of my head. Button Shy appears to work hard to create a community. The designers of their games seem to return for multiple titles. Skulls of Sedlec designer Dustin Dobson also designed Button Shy's solo puzzle game Rove, their tactical skirmish game Battle Crest, and the intriguing 18-card legacy game Wild Tales. Now that one I have to try. Many of Button Shy's games are developed as entries into their regular design challenges, where designers are asked to design to a brief, a theme, a mechanism, or some other constraint, with a component limit of just 18 cards. Skulls of Sedlec was a finalist in a challenge where designers were asked to design an 18-card game based on a real-life location. So we know a little bit about the onboarding strategy. Button Shy has a following. New entries are likely to be picked up by fans of the series, and word of mouth spreads the message wider, bringing new fans into the mix. Just as happened here, with all of you directing me towards Skulls of Sedlec, and me subsequently getting sucked into the wealth of other tantalisingly affordable wallet games on offer. The rules of Skulls of Sedlec are as simple as the packaging. I explained them all to you earlier. It can't have taken me more than a minute. And yet, the gameplay is super entertaining. Card drafting is always enjoyable, especially when combined with set collection, but the simple variation on the formula, splitting cards to create dominoes, provides just enough to make the decisions feel substantial. The game clips along at a pace, and if you're anything like me, when it's over, you'll be asking for a rematch, and most likely playing several games on the trot. I rate games using my ladder engagement system. So games are awarded 0 to 3 points in 5 different categories, and each point scored climbs the game one rung up the ladder. A score of 10 or above tops the ladder and indicates a real favourite with me. For thematic immersion, Skulls of Sedlec scores 1. There's no narrative, of course, but the skulls are nicely drawn, the pyramids look great when they're done, and the skulls' scoring criteria relate nicely to their titles and illustrations. For player interaction, it's also a 1. There's some minor potential for blocking play here, drafting cards specifically to deprive your opponents, but the focus is largely on your own display. Stress and challenge scores a little higher. The game is tense. You can only hold 2 cards in hand, but you might be holding on to some valuable scoring opportunities, just waiting to place them in higher scoring positions in upper rows of your pyramid. There will be many times in the game where you're waiting for just the card you need to emerge in the central display, willing it to appear before you're forced to place a card from your hand in a suboptimal position. Feedback describes the ways in which a game responds to the player's input, rewards, penalties, special abilities. And there's not much here. You're collecting cards, placing them, and you score them at the end of the game. Any gratification is delayed, as you have to wait for game end to see the rewards from the combos that you set up. The choices in the game are compelling. Deciding when to play a card and when to hold it back. Which card should I select from the display? Should I take a face-up card, or should I flip 2 cards at the risk that I don't want either of them? The overall score of 7 is very respectable, though it stops short of the top of the ladder. Frankly, achieving a game this engaging with just 18 cards is a huge achievement. Now, I'm hesitant to apply my usual product design checklist. Is the game innovative? No, not hugely. Does it fulfill a need or fill a gap in the market? Again, no. But I'm reluctant to put too much weight on these criteria, because we know that Skulls of Sedlec wasn't created using a design thinking approach. It was an entry into a competition focused on theme-first design, and the product is really something much bigger, a catalogue of tiny games in cute wallets, curated experiences sold at an affordable price. I do think there's a market for this stuff, primarily among those of us with a drive to collect. Positioning Skulls of Sedlec on my idea execution matrix isn't fair, because it's not really a standalone product. The real product is Button Shy itself, and that's a great concept, well executed. But that's not to do Skulls of Sedlec down. The game holds its own against the most popular titles in the genre. Sushi Go is a comparable weight, and Skulls of Sedlec provides a similar experience with a much smaller footprint. If you'd like to hear more about some simple portable games, then click on the link. And until next time, all the best.